Hello, parents. I want to take this opportunity to just go through what we would have done as our in-person parent meeting. You can see by the date in the corner, this was originally scheduled for November 16th, but with the pause in the season and the continued pauses, this is really kind of the first opportunity where some of the information in this parent meeting was actually relevant. And now that we have an opportunity to play games, I think it's important that we go through this. I've really thinned it out. There's a lot of things that uh, not important this year because not everything is going to be able to happen this year with a very shortened season and limited spectators in the stands. And so, but I think it's important that I go through a few of these things with you. Um, Again, just not having an opportunity for us to do this in person this year, but still important to get you the information that you need. Again, my name is Mike Phillips. I'm the varsity coach here at Mona Shores. Melissa Koziak, Steve DeLong, and Sean Subcheck are our varsity assistants. Scott Sewick is our JV coach. Sydney Tharp is our varsity or our JV assistant. Rodney Anderson is our freshman coach, and his son Rod Anderson Jr. is our freshman assistant. Just a couple of action items here, and these are some things that are going to be coming home with your daughter this coming week. First one is this code of conduct. So this is actually something that won't be coming home, but they wanted us to make you aware of this. This is actually at the beginning of the year, and you signed these paperwork already. So this code of conduct is something that won't be coming home. It's already been signed, but we were told to make sure that you were aware of that code of conduct. The medical emergency form and transportation form, this will be coming home as a two-sided piece of paper. This is going to come back to the coach. So this emergency form, again, if this is something were to happen at an away game and they needed medical attention, we want to make sure that we have all the information relevant to get your daughter the medical attention that she needs. On the back side of that is going to be this transportation permission slip. So both of these need to be read through, filled out. Those will be returned to your coach. Also, the participation fee, I believe that they are still collecting this year. Full fee is $50. If you are free or reduced, it is $25. And this is due into the athletic office. So coaches aren't going to handle this money. So this is going to be turned in directly to the athletic office. If anything changes, I will make sure to let you know as far as what that participation fee is. Communication. We use our Lady Sailor Hoops website often. That is what this looks like here. This is going to be our hub for information communication. Team and program-wide calendars are always up to date. This year, especially those calendars, those events, those schedules have changed so much. I'm hopeful that everything there is correct. I've double and triple checked it, but I guarantee you there's going to be something that I've overlooked. And then we also have the Mona Shores Athletics website where all of the schedules are located as well. So on our Lady Sailor Hoops website, this calendars is probably what you're going to want to pay attention to the most. Should have all of our practices, games, everything on here. If we want to filter this down, let's say just taking a look at the varsity calendar, we could do that here and just see what the varsity is. And again, if I wanted to see it kind of day by day. So this is great for parents. And then what you could also do is if you want to add this to your calendar to automatically sync, you can do that down there as well. I believe all of our coaches already have all of the parents' email addresses. If they do not, please let them know. If there's another email address that you want to add to that communication, make sure you let your daughter's coach know so that they can add that. That's going to be important for both in and out of season communication. And then for coach to player communication, I've kind of left this open. So however coaches want to communicate with players, whatever, if there's an app that they want to use, if it's a group text message, however that works, what we want to do is try to meet the kids where they're at and communicate with them that way. And again, I'm encouraging all parents, all kids to keep any social media posts that you have during the season. I want to try to keep those positive. Just to let you know some of the things that are new for players this year, and this was from our fundraising dollars that we raised in previous years. Varsity got new uniforms this year. That was paid for by their fundraised money. We didn't have a summer this past year, so we didn't have any summer expenses. So we were able to purchase new uniforms. Got some new backpacks and warm-up pants. Our JV are getting our Adidas uniforms that the varsity wore last year. I believe that those are only 3 years old. We also spent some money to add some additional uniforms to give us a little bit more variation on sizes, a few more pairs of shorts as well. And the freshmen got backpacks this year. Still going to try to complete our player fundraiser this year. This is really the only thing that we have coming in from a player's standpoint. Normally we do a couple of them in such a short season. Really don't have the time to do so. And why do we do player fundraisers? Why do we do fundraisers at all? So our athletic department budget is $600 annually to our program. This year, due to all of the pandemics and funding, we got cut by 50%. And it's not just a girls basketball program. I believe it was, programs all over the board. So we have $300 to spend from the athletic department, and that covers all of the additional things that we want to do. It costs our program approximately $8,000 to $12,000 annually to run a successful program. This includes paying for all of the summer camps for all of our players, anything that we need to do during the season. So right now, what you've seen with your daughters, shooting shirts and new practice jerseys and things like that throughout the season. We like to run 100% fundraisers as opposed to like coupon books or online platforms usually take between 18% or 15%, 50% of whatever is sold. So the one that we do every year, and are really only going to be new to the freshmen, is we do a letter writing campaign. And we're going to be doing this in February. Matter of fact, this is going to be February 17th. 17th because we actually have some conflict with some gym time. And so that's going to be our date this year. What you are going to see, parents, is I'm going to be sending home a document that's kind of lay out the fundraiser itself. And then what we are asking for from you is that you provide 10 mailing addresses to people that would be interested possibly in sponsoring your daughter. And our goal is that each player raises $100. Again, this information will be coming home. We want to get all this information out to you this next week, collected the following week, and we'll be completing this right now as of February 17th. From a program fundraiser, normally we would have concessions. We obviously don't have that this year. Normally we were able to run our youth basketball program. That brings in funds for our program. Weren't able to run that this year. So this year it's pretty thin. And what we do also have is we have our banner program. So when you guys are in the Sailor Center this year, you're going to notice a lot of the banners that are hanging in the Sailor Center are girls basketball sponsors. We also put all of those people, they're on our website as well. So we have 3 of our platinum sponsors. You'll also see their names on the scoreboard, score table, and then we also have our diamond sponsors down here as well. They have banners hanging in the Sailor Center. That money comes back to our girls basketball program. If you own a business or you know somebody that owns a business that would be interested in becoming part of our banner program, please have them reach out to me, you reach out to me, and what I can do is I can send them this document here and I can provide a little bit more information to them as well. Going to be sending home this week with players our program expectations. It simply lays out what our vision, our mission, our values are, our pillars for success. We also take a look at what is the role of the student athlete, what is the role of the coach, what is the role of the parents. and then we want parents or players and parents to read through that, sign that, and get that back to the coaches. Ultimately, what we're trying to do is set the student athletes up for success, and it really comes down to what I think is three simple things: be where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to be doing, as well as you can possibly do it. And I think if athletes do that, there isn't an issue as far as meeting our program expectations. That document will be coming home with players. Parents, please go through that with them, sign that, get them back to their respective coaches. There are some changes this year with the Michigan High School Athletic Association. There are some return to play guidelines. These are constantly changing. What they were in November is different than December and kind of where we're at now. And so these are things that are ever evolving. But what we know right now, uh, parents are encouraged to drive athletes to away competitions. Uh, Please make sure that you are communicating with your coaches, with the coach of your daughter. If they do end up taking buses, we're going to have seating charts just simply because of COVID and contact tracing. So we're really encouraging. Nice thing now is having spectators. Parents, if you are going to away games, we want you to bring your daughter, drive her to the away games versus taking a bus. But we also want to make sure that you are communicating that with coaches. That coaches aren't waiting for daughters to show up for a bus that's leaving for an away game, and she is already on her way there. So this is, I know it's going to create a little bit of confusion, but it's also something that for the safety of your daughter, that she is riding with a family member. So um, coaches will be communicating with parents and coming up with a plan at each individual level. Face coverings are required for play in the stands, on the bench. Again, we may not have access to a locker room at away contests. They don't have to provide us a locker room. So we want to encourage players to arrive dressed and ready to play, whether they're dressed at our school, taking the bus, or dressed at home and arrive dressed just for that reason. Not that we wouldn't have access to a bathroom, but we may not have access to a locker room. I believe most schools probably will provide that, but given the situation that we're in, they don't have to provide that this year. So just want to make sure that you are aware of that. There's also some basketball specific rules. They're going to be different just this year because of the pandemic that we're in. So you may see some team benches that are spaced out, rather than sitting in a straight line, they may be staggered. There's going to be a suspended pre and post game protocol, so there will be no shaking of hands pre-game or post-game. So there won't be a captain's meeting before the game. Officials aren't going to be meeting with players before the game, and there isn't going to be, the normal sportsmanship handshake line at the end of the game either. For the throw-in, so officials may or may not hand players the ball this year. They may stand 6 feet or greater away and bounce the ball to them versus handing the ball. So one of the rules also is officials can make the judgment call to not handle the ball at all. It could be on the players. So that is going to be a change. There will not be a jump ball this year. The ball is just going to be awarded to the visiting team. If it does go into overtime, they'll use a coin toss to determine which team is awarded the ball. All timeouts this year are going to be full timeouts, so there's not going to be 60 or 30-second timeouts. Every single timeout is going to be a full timeout. And as of right now, there is a 2 spectator per participant limit. If those change, we will communicate that with you. I know that they're still working on that this weekend. There is a non-COVID basketball rule update, and this was in place even before COVID hit, is students can participate in 5 quarters per day. So we could potentially have a JV player that plays 4 quarters and then is also eligible to dress and play for a quarter of a varsity game. We may have a freshman that plays 4 quarters of a freshman game and is still eligible to play in a quarter of the JV game. So this may be something that we take advantage of. Maybe it isn't. It might be a game by game basis. and part of it simply may have to do with the number of players that we have available for a game as well. So just want to make sure that you know that. That is a new rule this year. It's not a this year rule. I believe it's going to be a rule moving forward as well. So a player can play in up to 5 quarters in a day in no more than 3 days in a week. If you would like to have a conversation with a coach, just make sure that you follow the chain of command. So our parents and players, your first line is to talk to your team coach. After that, if you want to have a meeting with myself as the varsity head coach, you're welcome to do that. Just make sure that you're having a conversation with that team coach first. Then if you would like to meet with the athletic director, the principal, or the superintendent, what we're simply asking of our parents and our players is that you follow that chain of command in order to address whatever issues or concerns that you have. Also, want to make sure that everyone is following the 24-hour rule. Make sure that it's been at least 24 hours from a game before you send that text, write that email. I encourage you to write it out, just simply not hit send. I think it's also important that you have somebody proofread that. Have somebody else see what you are about to send before you actually send it. And if you do request a meeting with a coach, the athlete, parent, and coach must all be attending the meeting. We won't talk about playing time strategies or other players, but we will definitely talk about ways to help your daughter improve or about any concerns that you may have with behavior. And I thank you for listening to this and watching all the way through to the end. Please reach out with any questions that you have. Again, apologize that we can't have this in person, but I think it was more important that we actually presented the information to you than where that presentation took place. So again, thank you for watching to the end. Please reach out with any questions that you have, and go Sailors.